Alright everybody, how's it going? Hope your day's going good. I got a Didinium clip from my cell phone to record glass blowing videos to try to show you guys a little bit more about what I do and how I do it and stuff. Yeah, so this is how I encase an opal. These are opals. I got, there's a ton of them in here, probably like 100. But yeah, I get them from Grandpa Glass, Profound Glass, those guys. AAA opals, pretty good. So we're gonna encase one today and I'm gonna kind of walk you through it. The first thing I'm gonna do is I have a 9.5 tube and it is closed at the end, kind of like a test tube, rounded off at the end. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of make sure inside it has like more of a shelf. So how I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna heat up the end, give it a little elbow down, and a couple slight puffs when it gets hot. And that's going to just give the opal a nice flat surface to lay on to start the encasement, to make sure we don't catch a bubble when we start encasing it. So you can see now it's a little bit more beep, beep, beep. So now we're going to put an opal in there. We use a white one for this. I usually try to contrast the color of the opal to the background it's going to get. These are actually going to get a gold background because they're going to go in some cups. So now we have our opal in there. Blow hose back on. And I'm going to gently heat the opal inside the tubing in the back of the flame. I'm not going to let it stick to the walls, and if it does stick to the wall of the tubing, I'm just going to knock it against my marker and knock it loose. I'm going to try to keep it centered in the tubing so that as the encasement starts, it's just kind of centered and doesn't go off to the side or anything. Sometimes it does and you have to clean it up a little bit. It's not a big deal. Just try to do it right the first time and save you a little time in the process. Oh, that tubing has a little crack from me banging against my torch. That's funny. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to knock it over to the center. Pretty good. And I'm going to give a little bit elbow down, and I'm going to narrow up my flame to a little pinpoint, and I'm going to start heating the very back of the solid portion of my tubing. And that's going to transfer the heat back down into the opal section. And I'm going to give it a little suck the second that I see that it can move. What that does is that brings the bottom of the tubing up to meet the opal and ensures that there's no bubble left at the very, very right side of the inside of the tubing. It's very easy to catch a bubble there, and it's very easy to catch a bubble on the left side, just where the encasement starts and the encasement ends. Now we're just going to go and we're going to start heating the solid piece of the tubing once more. And we're just going to indirectly transfer some heat up into the hollow section. I can see my opal kind of touch the wall on this side. So what I'm going to do is, to avoid a bubble right there, I'm only going to heat that section. And I'm going to suck. And that's going to pull the wall in to meet the opal and eliminate any bubble that could happen there. And subsequently, it kind of evened up my opal, which is kind of cool. So now I'm going to go back to an elbow down position, heat the solid piece of the tubing. We're never going to want to heat the hollow tubing directly. And now I'm going to hang down, so I'm going to let gravity do a little bit of work for me. And slowly, like the opposite of puff, 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 suck, suck, suck. And then we're going to just move the molten glass up the opal, almost like we're laminating it from one side to the other. And we're just going to make sure that the glass is always hot enough by heating the solid section. And we can move up the solid section if we feel like it needs to be more molten. So we're going really good. All the time we have an elbow up position, and that's pulling the opal down and centering it inside the encasement. We're going to go one more, and we're going to get the opal like 90% encased. It's going to have just a touch sticking out still. Okay, there we go. Now you can see that it's about 90% encased. It's got a little tip of it sticking out the top. we're going to go back to our elbow down position, and we're going to heat this solid piece of tubing at the very end and indirectly transfer some heat down into the opal, and pass that down into the hollow section. And we're going to give it a couple sucks on an elbow down position, just to ensure that we don't catch a little bubble right there at the end. And you can see it kind of pulls the glass a little bit funny, so we'll go ahead, elbow up now, pull it back out. And then we just center it up one last time. That's why I keep my yolks here, just to center things up. This opal looks like it may have had a little bit of oil or something on it. I got quite a few little micro bubbles. Very interesting. But we'll let it cool down. I'll show you just the same thing. So we're good. Yeah, and you can see the caught a little bubble right there. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. Caught a little bubble right there at the right side. So what I would do is probably just attach it that side to whatever piece I was putting on and hide that bubble and present the flawless side, which is the left side. I don't know about flawless, but I like to think so. Anyway, hopefully that was a good video.